appreciate anyone who comes up. Let's do that. We are doing the thing. Oh, yes. I, so, I realized that I said I was going to start streaming at midnight, and it is pushing 12:30. I did have a session that went late. That's the only excuse I can offer. So, uh, yeah. Okay. Cool beans. So, I'm, uh, right, so that's fun. Oh, all right. So welcome to the stream. I guess I'm starting properly. Oh, hey, we already have a viewer. Welcome, welcome. My name is Lee, in case you didn't know, and he and vibes today, but cheer day is also fine because I'm pretty flexible. So that's fun. Sorry, my chin is so disgusting. Yeah. Oh, so usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays when I do late night, I usually do Warhammer 40k. So what I would do with that, if you see up there, careful, careful. Sorry, I have to check. There we go. That's it. We're a Rogue Trader book. So in we're okay. Wow, Warhammer 40k. There is the Rogue Traders, who are a class of humans who have been given special permission from the Imperium to go exploring in the great wilds of the edge of the galaxy and trade with Xenos, provided they're willing to screw them over later and find all sorts of cool stuff, and generally are above the law. I mean, heresy is still, out there, but yeah, let's see if I can't get my voice down a little bit. I'm supposed to be practicing, it's just difficult. So they generally are above the law, pretty much. Any, mundane laws that might apply on any planets, murder or theft or anything like that, they're pretty much above that. So, what I've been doing, in my streams, last stream, which was yesterday, well, it's Friday now, it was on, technically, depends on which time zone you're in, whether it's Friday or not. Yeah, because it's about half the world, it's Friday already, and the rest of us, it's still, I think there are two time zones, two or three time zones, maybe four where it's still Thursday, but mine not being one of them. But on point. Sorry, it was last time I streamed. I did a typing stream. So what I did was I went back over all of the cool things I created for Pathfinder, first edition, for that lore, and typed it up. So for Warhammer 40k, I began creating characters because I have the Rogue Trader game. I have a PDF copy, as you can see. That's the cover of it. The theory. So I've been creating characters using that system. It's a D10 system. Well, a D100 system, actually. Which is pretty cool. I've been creating, well, let's see how many. I've basically created a small, self-contained bit of lore. So I created, what's the theory? I had, the Express Primus. We named the ship. And after that, I had, I started creating the characters before I named the ship, but there were interesting. Thank you for following whoever host 00312 is. I hope you're not a bot. I'd like you to be a real person. It'd be nice, but I do appreciate it. What? Sorry, I'm trying to say is I'm falling asleep. I don't know, streaming, it's weird. Every time I go to stream, especially when I don't have people talking in chat. If you want to talk in chat, I would really appreciate it. I also know my viewer count is not always 100%, so I could very well have other people watching right now in so I've been so I started so streaming tends to make me tired for weirdly. That's what I was trying to say. And I don't want to be tired because I want to, be energetic for all of you. But if people talk in the chat, I can, respond, and that helps a lot. So as I started going, so today I'm going to go and look through where I am with that. Zyle, we had a bunch of worlds come in. We could type up that let's see. Okay, cheese, a bit of a forge. All right, so we were going. So last time we did Taranra. Taranra. She is a butch pansexual. Let's see, from a forge world. Oh, she's the forge. Yeah, she's the little. We were working on her gear, and she has a Servo Skull Familiar. We need to name the Servo Skull Familiar. If you are in so I had her as kind of the other explorer who joined with Janthian. They were a team. I've been building the crew of the Expectus Primus, and the different. We have a navigator so far. I might look through and see if there's any key crew members we're missing, and if so, should I go up the origin path chart, rolling randomly, of course. And then I think that's what we're going to do. Yes. We are going to go to nope, that, and that's fine. Okay, so the point I was trying to make on all of this, which is a complicated point. Anyway, hey, bees, hey, we have lots of viewers now. Welcome. You actually have your own name, too. That's cool. Yes, welcome. You know my name is Lee. Him vibe today, but sure they is fine. I am doing Warhammer 40k, which is cool stuff. We got Taranra, and she is a vibe. When I'm going to try to look back, I think we're missing an astropath on the Expectus Primus. I'm going to double check that. And we also need a name for... Oh, Sales Spencer, I say hi. Also, if you can come up with a really good name for a Servo Skull familiar, that would be cool. I mean, I could roll for it or come up with it. Bards. Oh, that's for Cronoa. So we got. A Servo Skull. Oh, sorry. Servo Skulls are like the cool. Okay, so. Oh wait, hang on. I think. Hang on. Janthine probably has one too. Yeah, because she's also a... Okay. So, the nature of Servo Skulls. Servitors in Warhammer 40k lore are meat puppets with basically ever since the AI rebellion, which happened at the dark age of technology, right when all the warp storms were happening, which led to the breakdown of the galactic empire that mankind had built before they had the Imperium, and led to 10,000 years of... I think it was 10,000... Yeah, 10,000 years of darkness and misery. So it was the year 20,000. Sorry, lore dumps are very exciting. Okay, year 20,000. Humankind has spread throughout the stars. Created an empire, invented spaceships, figured out warp travel, did a lot of cool stuff. Two things happen. One, the Eldar murderfuck Slanesh into existence, causing cataclysmic warp storms that cut everyone off. This is also when Psychers start emerging, and that disrupts the status quo because demons can crawl through people's heads into real space. Very complicated. The warp storms prevent travel between planets. Even like the skimming, which is what people were doing before, which allows you to... It's much, much slower than just going through the warp, but it's much safer. Even that becomes impossible as these warp storms come through, the Psychers start appearing, and the AI rebel. The Men of Iron rebel. There was an AI rebellion at the same time. That led to 1,000 years of dark. Year 30,000, the Emperor finally says enough, reveals himself to have been on Earth the whole time, conquers Earth, unites it, conquers the moon, conquers Mars, hooks up with the tech priests of Mars to build spaceships, uses the moon base to build secret super soldiers in his base under the Himalayas, And then his super soldier sons get corrupted by chaos, and there's a civil war about like 20 or 30 years after he finally got humanity united under the Imperium. There's a civil war, and then that led to the current 10,000 years of the Imperium, where, misery, shenanigans, the 41st millennium, which is pretty terrible, but, and then after all of that, right, sorry, I just love lore dumping. It's exciting. But because that humanity had already gone through one AI rebellion, the Adeptus Mechanicus has made it a point: no more AI. Hypothetically, any machine they create, they have to use human in some way. So they got around that by using servitors. Basically, they would take a person who had been killed, or was a backgrown clone, or was a convicted criminal who had their mind wiped, or just pissed off the Inquisition and got their mind wiped. They would take them and they would rewire their brain. Basically, they would use the human neuron as a conductors, as a motherboard for a simple programming to create a cyborg, kinda. Yeah, you can do that. And then there are cogitators, which are just machines that, like, basic computers, like TI-34 level processors. Like, you can do some stuff with them, but not doing anything crazy spectacular. So, servo skulls familiars. So, what tech priests have taken to creating is what are called servo skulls. They are a human skull. Usually you bleach off the outer flesh, but you leave some of the brain in there. So it just looks like a skull. They might actually not be servitors in the strictest sense of the word, but they got ocular. They have a little mini anti-grav unit, so they float. They've got Vox and vids and all sorts of cool, basic surveillance tech. They can't really do much other than, they can deliver messages. You can record a short message and then send the skull off to deliver it. You can see through its eye, because you usually fit one eye of the servo skull with a camera. And you can maybe listen through it. You can have it float around and do things. It just basically is a little pet skull that can do basic stuff. So tech priests tend to have them as, like, familiars. That's what they're called. Basically, they're just an extra servo skull. But if you're an explorador, you get one. I'm pretty sure it's because she's an explorator, not because she comes from a Forge world. I will double check that. I will bring up the book and double check it. But since I know for a fact that what's her name? The new girl. Terranra gets one. I figured the servo skull needs a name, and let me just explore her. Yes, here it is. Starting gear. Also begins play owning one and controlling one servo skull familiar. I can actually, servo skull. I can read you, like, the little blurb here, because reading from the book is fun. It's well written. Servo skulls are human skulls, often that of a favorite servant or low-ranking tech priest, that have been fitted with rudimentary artificial intelligence, support systems, and an anti-grav motor to provide mobility. The advantages are their small size and maneuverability, which allows them to enter otherwise inaccessible spaces or hazardous areas that would endanger their operators, as well as the ability to act as additional eyes and ears for their masters. Yeah, so they can just kind of float around and see and hear. And an inbuilt Vox and Cogitator. Depending on its function, the servo skull will also have an inbuilt lumen globe, auspex, combi tool, or las pistol. Ooh! With inbuilt red dot laser sight. Servo skulls are often modified with other tools, sensors, or pistol-class weapons by their owners. So, you can have a gun. It's this little skull that may or may not have a gun built in. Sorry. Lumen globe being like a light. I am I am way more excited about the skull having a gun than I should be. But, like, it's just this cute little skull that floats around and, like, you know, is just a vibe. And, Trenra has one, and if I remember correctly, I didn't write it down, but I think... no. Oh, wow. I also need to organize... I guess you could name your skull anything. I would think it would be more of a person sort of name, but she might... I don't know what kind of name she would give it. Probably a person name... Maybe something gender neutral, but, you know, what you would name a pet skull. I don't know what you would name a pet skull. Mr. Bones, maybe? I don't know if you, there's this, song from the musical White Christmas. Tell a little story, Mr. Bones. A funny little story, Mr. Bones. One day a doctor fell into a great big well. Oh, Mr. Bones, that's terrible. Yes, Mr. Bones, that's terrible. No, he should have attended to the sick and left the well alone. Sorry. Yeah, dude-ish vibes kind of name. I just have that snippet of song stuck in my head, which, believe it's probably close to public domain by now. That was ages ago. It is about minstrel shows, so the whole song has bad vibes, but like it's a really catchy song, which is like one of those things. It's like, why do all the catchy songs have to have like bad vibe history? You know? But Nicolette. Oh yeah, she's hooking up with right. Oh, Zeptek the Kobold. I forgot about him. I have a Kobold that I forgot about. But, maybe, well, Monday probably I'll do another, right. So, Archmilitary, okay, so Ziel, we got, Harmon and Ziel and, which means Janthine, yeah, dude-ish vibes, okay, so Odette. Also, we got Odette and, Icton. Is Icton... No, Icton is... Icton's probably looking for... Okay, Viseria is, the planet, Janthine, yes. Viseria is her home planet, but she also ended up as an explorator after being press-ganged. So... Sorry. I just need to tell my fish how beautiful he is. Okay, so it means she also gets one. So, but that's, yeah, so Odette was the first one. No, Janthine was the first one, but she, I'm mixing her up with Odette, which means that is, okay. A lesbian, a druid cleric. Okay. She's part of that vibe. Oh, they have Wolfram Lilac. Okay. Yeah. That is definitely... Yeah, so dude-ish vibes. One of them... I don't know if... Mr. Bones seems kind of cliche for one of the servo skulls, but... Is that the kind of name? Alright, so I also need to bring up the origin path chart. The reason being... Oh, I see. Yeah, we put it down. Okay. Okay, so what I need to bring up is a chart. I have a lot of charts. There we go. So we get Arch-Militant Void. We don't have a Void Master. Missionary. We don't need a missionary necessarily. Seneschal. We have a navigator and we have a rogue trader. So, and we have 2 Arch-Militants. Kato. That's not a bad name, actually. Oh, not that one. Not this one. There we go. Okay. Kato. Yeah. I would say, oh, right, and I have all the implants. Kato. That's not a bad name. Okay, so we have 1 servo skull named Kato, and then Terenraz is named Mr. Bones. And now we have to figure out plus she gets all of the implants and stuff, the spinal graft and oh yes, I have it all written down, the electrograft and the power supply, the oh yes, the mantle, which is bolted to the lower spine, the external thing, and the cranial Alright, so we got the 2 servo skulls. But in terms of rounding out the crew, we have 1 explorer. Let's see, we got 1 explorer. Gilnia, okay. So, oh yes, that one. And we had Farina, who is our navigator, and her house, Stevenson. Then we get, oh yes, Bertland, the planet, useful planet. I think, Turner, might come from, so we have a rogue, oh yes, we have our captain, Jarian, with ties to the, oh, the mushrooms, yes, Zyle's home planet, which is called Hamish, Explorer Primus, okay, we got, we do have a Void Master. Harmon is a Void Master. So we have a Void Master, which means we have someone who can, like, run the ship, basically. We have Zyle and Adet as Arch-Militants. But I don't think... Yeah, we got Odette, also Arch-Militant. And then we have... okay, so we got notes on... Janthine, yes. So, given all of that, we have a fairly well put together character. I mean, crew. We have a fairly well-rounded crew. We do have a lot of well put together characters. But my plan was we could roll up another. So, in terms of, let me see, the rounding of the crew, what we do have and don't have. Let me pull up the origin path chart again. So we have a couple archmilitants. We've got a Void Master. We have 2 explorers. We don't have a missionary or seneschal. We don't need a missionary, per se. Seneschal will be helpful, but not entirely. And we got a navigator, and then we have a rogue trader. So, if we're going to do one more character, which I think we should, I mean, missionaries are pretty cool, I admit, but I was thinking more, who do we need to have in order to make the ship function properly? Although, you can just have an astropath who's not an astropath transcendent, who can just send and receive messages, but can't really do much else in terms of, powers. I've had, the game you were in, actually, that, we had an astropath like that. She just basically was a relay. She actually had, a backstory, too. I, gave her, a little bit of a backstory. I don't remember what it is now, but I gave her one. And I did write it down somewhere, so if I find the right notebook, I can probably figure out what the deal with her was. But basically what we could do for the origin path is, if we're going to roll up another character, we could just start with the top and go down and see who else is on the ship by happenstance. Or we could say, well, we know there's an astropath on the ship. How did they end up there? And then try to put together a backstory for them. I think we're... I'm gonna say... You know what? Let's roll for it. Evens odds. Because that's what I do. Let's pull this down. We'll pull up the dice cam. Bop. Okay, so the idea is... There we go. I'm going to use the D8 because it's a nice D8. And we're going to do evens odds. Evens, we just, we'll create an astropath. Who does more than just send messages. Because, an astropath transcendent can actually, have other powers and be incredibly useful. So we'll do that. If we roll odds, we'll just roll, well, I could offer you the choice, actually, since you're in chat. Do you want to have the other, half of that 50% chance be roll randomly for a, planet of origin and go down the path and see what you get? Or is the other half of that going to be, start at missionary and go up? Because we have evens on start with astropath and go up. Or odds, some other crazy choice. Alright. Evens we go up from astropath. Odds we go down. Are we ready? I can't do a really good drum roll. I need to get better at that because and here we go. Let's do this and see what it is. Evens, we go astropath. Odds, we go down. Okay. I'm gonna one odds, which is randomly down. Okay, let's do it. I'm excited. We have Svagmar and okay, we're gonna leave open page in case for more for Vagmar. All right. We're gonna roll down the origin path, then roll on chart 1, then roll for stats, and then I think that'd be a good start. And then we'll have another member of the Expectus Primus, and then we can kind of expand the lore to fit that, and then maybe a home planet's. Oh yes, we should do what's her name? Taranra's home planet. Or Forge World. I don't think it's the same. It's whatever. It has to be a Forge world near. We established this because she came from that one originally before they went and they took the fleet. Or they could have just had that particular branch of the Explorer fleet being longer traveled. So I think it's probably a different Forge world than the captain grew up on, which means we can invent another Forge world. But first, we're going to roll a d6. Let us begin. I'll put the 8 and d6. Which we're rolling for home planet. We look at the chart. Consulting the chart. Not that chart. Different chart. We got the... I have a lot of charts. Okay. Origin path. Here we go. So, we have Death World, Voidborn, Forge World, Hive World, Imperial World, or Nobleborn. Alright. D6. Pop the chart down so I can see the roll. I'm going to roll it 5. Okay. Let me see what the chart says. Oh, an Imperial World. Okay. That is pretty cool. So basically Imperial Worlds can be any mid-tech worlds, like agri-worlds or mining world, or basically just civilian stuff. It's not enough people to be a hive world, but it's run by the Imperium, and it's not deadly enough to be death world. So it's not deadly to human life or overpopulated. It's simply a world that exists. There's dozens of them. They all have different, vibes. Gressel's a pretty good one. There's Gressel and Keladak, and there's a bunch actually that I've built over the course of running Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader games. That there's a bunch of Imperial worlds that just kind of exist. That could be from one of them, could be from a different one. Okay, that's a very... Okay, so Imperial World gives us... Let's see. Yeah, I'll read the thing. Here we go. I will explain the thing. Because that's part of the fun of it is... seeing all the cool, origin path, experience points. Alright, characteristics. Comes after... intersections are important. I've been working my way through intersections as we build characters. As I've been building the characters up, be like, oh, this and that and the other thing, and different intersections as a method of trying to... yeah, there we go. Yes, a method of trying to stuff. Alright, Imperial World. You hail from an imperial world, one of a million planets united by the belief in the immortal God Emperor of mankind. Soldier, fanatic, thief, mercenary, noble, these are some of your many possible backgrounds. Whatever your previous calling, you are now an explorer of the void, and your adventure has just begun. A bewildering variety of worlds are known to the Imperium. Hailing from hyper-technological democratic societies to grimy feudal populations, the inhabitants of countless worlds offer fealty and devotion to the God Emperor of mankind, and the Imperial Creed taught by his servants. Life on an Imperial world. The Imperium covers such an utterly vast area of the galaxy that it is impossible to conjure an image of a typical Imperial world. No such thing exists. Among the uncounted worlds of man, there exists endless variety. Agri-worlds, for instance, are little more than vast farms producing food for the Imperial hives and legions. Mining worlds produce ore and raw minerals for use in the vast factory of forge worlds. Cardinal worlds are ruled by the Ministorum, given over entirely to the priesthood of the Imperial Creed, the Ecclesiarchy, whilst the worlds of the Schola Progenium are places of stern discipline and instruction where the orphaned millions of the honored dead are brought up to take their part in the machinery of the Imperium's rule. Stranger still are the garden and pleasure worlds that serve as havens for imperial nobles who possess wealth beyond measure. Paradise, however, comes at a price, for temptation and heresy are sometimes rife in these places. Some imperial worlds are utterly remote, having had no contact with the rest of humanity for centuries. A broad diversity of cultures and societies is to be expected from planet to planet, sometimes even within the same solar system. The closer a world lies to Holy Terra, the home planet of mankind, far from the Calixis sector, the more important, advanced, and well-governed it is likely to be. Far-flung planets on the fringes, on the other hand, are more likely to be frontier worlds, left to their own devices for much of the time and under constant threat of physical and spiritual attacks. Many worlds have technological base to match that of Holy Terra, whilst many more have devolved into feudal backwaters with little more than black powder technology. These hardscrabble worlds, as well as those at the periphery of the Imperium, make excellent recruiting grounds for the Imperial Guard, Space Marines, and rogue traders' low-deck crew, as nothing assures obedience quite so well as fear, and life on such places often winnows out the weak early on. Upon such backwater planets, the Imperial cult casts its influence through superstition and is often seen through a lens of local legends and folklore, demanding fealty to the immortal God Emperor, who, for many citizens of the Imperium, may seem so distant as to be little more than a myth or a vital supernatural guardian holding the terrors of the night at bay. Most major scientific advances in the Imperium come from the rediscovery of forgotten secrets from the dark age of technology, and innovation is forbidden. The powerful Adeptus Mechanicus of Mars maintains an iron-handed monopoly on all such matters of high techno-arcana. The reliance on ancient template system, proven patterns, and tangle web of contracts and dispensations from the machine cults to the planet's rulers, not to mention the availability of local materials imports, often creates a bizarre mishmash of tech use on many imperial worlds. The method of government employed by the diverse imperial worlds are equally varied at planetary level, with monarchies, republics, and oligarchs all present in numerous iterations and forms. Ultimately, however, the most imperial worlds are ruled by a planetary governor, sometimes known as an imperial commander, who has final authority over the world as the Imperium's chosen representative. Many imperial worlds support a thriving ruling class of some sort, known usually as its nobility, regardless of any peerage involved or its absence. A world's nobility frequently assumes all positions of power and privilege that are not inherently part of the wider imperial organization, gathering wealth and authority over the planet's common masses to themselves. Religion, superstition, and fear dominates much of society within the Imperium, and deviancy from standards expected of a loyal servant of the God Emperor is rarely tolerated by the powers that be. Common people place great faith in the honest hatred to guard them against the manifold horrors of the universe and find genuine spiritual solace in the imperial creed of the Ministorum to uplift and protect them. Whilst each world in the Imperium is charged with enforcing its own local law and maintaining proper control of its people and environs, usually via enforcer cadres or the household forces of its nobility, law and order across the Imperium as a whole is the charge of the Adeptus Arbites. A grim, duty-bound force whose authority, given by the High Lords of Terra themselves, know no bounds of planet or border. The Arbites are charged to maintain high imperial law, to hunt fugitives between worlds, and to make sure planetary tides are upheld and no local ruler oversteps his bounds. Okay, so that's the deal with imperial worlds. It's basically any world that's not any other type of world. If you're born on a planet and it's not a hive world or a death world or a Well, let's see. Because those are Imperial worlds as well. But Hive worlds, Death worlds, or Forge worlds have their own... have very specific templates, whereas other Imperial worlds are just kind of all over the place. Well, Forge worlds are the province of the priesthood of Mars. They are slightly different in that regard. Whereas Death worlds are just deadly. Wow, what did she do? Or he. What did the cat do? That is so terribly dumb. And is the cat okay? They didn't, break their paw or something doing something dumb, right? Because that's not any fun for anyone. Okay, good. Alright. To have broken away from the dogmatic... I'm sure he's a great cat. He's probably not that dumb. As long as he's not hurt. To have broken away from the dogmatic constraints... Well, he just wants to be up high. And doesn't like being brought down, probably. I was going to say, to have broken away from the dogmatic constraints of Imperial life, your character must either be of exceptional spirit or have true potential. Perhaps you are an adventurer or a soldier, or a true believer beginning a long pilgrimage of your faith. Oh. Well. Yeah. Probably should get him off there. Or at least get the notebook away, because... I'll probably do something dumb with it. Like, replace it with a cat toy and just let him vibe on the piano, maybe? I don't know, I'm not there. What was I going to say? Oh, yes. Maybe you are a mercenary brought in to defend a planet during wartime. Ooh, sounds fun. You have undoubtedly seen conflict, madness, and perhaps even heresy, but now, for whatever reason, you are embarking into the unknown voids of the God Emperor's name. So we get +3 willpower, which is useful. Blessed ignorance. Imperial citizens know that the proper way of living are those tried and tested by generations that have gone before. Horror, pain, and death are the just rewards of curiosity. For those that look too deeply into the mysteries of the universe are all too likely to find malefic beings looking back at them. Their wise blindness imposes a -5 on all forbidden lore tests. Ugh. Okay, what else we got? Widespread scriptures describing the lives and, more importantly, deaths of the emperors, blessed saints, and war masters. And the sequence of endless wars, crusades, and terrors that make up history grants imperial citizens a comparatively wide knowledge of the Imperium of Man. Imperial worlders gain common lore Imperial Creed, common lore Imperium, and common lore War as basic skills. Untrained basic skills. So, so you can, basically, even if you're not trained in those areas, you can still... Oh, hi! I'm very big on non-binary pride. Hang on a second, let me see. Oh, I think, hang on a second, that might be a non-binary pride heart. Nope, it's just non-binary pride. Okay. Okay. I appreciate the offer. Hey, well, you know what? Even if they are a bot, they are perfectly welcome to vibe. I don't mind having as long as they're not spewing hate or trying to kill me, I am perfectly willing to let them watch, even if they are a robot, I don't mind having robots vibing in the, chat. As long as they don't say anything inappropriate. I'm not going to take them up on the offer, but, um, it's a vibe. They can stay and watch. I don't mind. Um, there we go. Let's see. So we get common lore. Yeah, so even if I don't have the skills trained, you can still make checks in them, which normally you couldn't do because if you grow up on a world that's fairly connected to the Imperium, you pretty much know a little bit about the Imperium, the Imperial Crete. You kind of know you basically know some of this stuff. Not a lot, but, you don't get a bonus on it or anything, but you've heard enough about it that you can pick up stuff like that. Liturgical familiarity. Surrounded as they are by the zealous and faithful Imperial citizens are accustomed to the tutelage of the Ecclesiarchy. Imperial world characters gain literacy and speak language High Gothic as untrained basic skills. And I'm guessing, so not fluency in High Gothic, but enough to, know some of it, half recognize words, and get a general idea of what's being said. Speak language High Gothic. And literacy. Okay. Then we get starting wounds, double starting toughness bonus, add 1d5. And then fate points is a d10. So we're going to bring up the thing. Okay, good. We have this. So let's put this back to 6. Find a d10. Bop. Roll, I'm going to roll on this one. It fell out of my dice bag, and I just stuck it here because, what else you going to do with a random die that you find? You're like, oh, yeah, no, that fell out of the dice tray, so I usually put that, it just stuck on the dice tray, and I was like, all right, let's do it. That is a 3. So 3 means we get 1 to 8, 3 fate points. Haha! 3 fate points. And I'm going to roll the wound now, I think. So let's grab one of these. And we'll switch up the d10s because I got a bunch. Let's do it. Ooh, that's 8. But as a d5, that's 4, which means so it's 4 plus 4 plus double toughness. Okay. So if we look at the origin path, there we go. We're going from the bottom. So we got Imperial World. Here we go. So it gives us 3 options. We got Child of the Creed, so actual religious studies, Savant, Brainiac Kid, or Vaunted, basically part of the planetary nobility they mention. Basically, you grow up in a privileged position, and so your family, you're not noble, like imperial scale, but your family's rich and big fish in a small pond. So your family's like they got connections, but like locally. So that's a thing. Let's see. We are using for that this die here. I'm gonna close off the path and so I'm gonna right here. I'm gonna write down what. Hang on, the stream didn't go wonky. No. Okay, good. Oh hey, we got some fun people viewing. I don't know if we've had anyone new come in, but I should have mentioned my name is Lee. Human vibes today, but cheer they is fine. We're doing Warhammer 40k. We're inventing a character who comes from an Imperial world and ended up on a rogue trader ship somehow. In some capacity. We do not know what capacity yet. We are kind of rolling through randomly, so we'll see how their lives end up, and then we'll roll on my chart, and then we'll roll for gender and sexuality, then we'll roll for characteristics, so we'll see what kind of stats we have, and then we'll have a whole, we'll have the basics of this person fleshed out. Okay, so we got plus, minus, or blank. We got Child of the Creed. If it rolls plus, we'll do Child of the Creed. If it rolls minus, Savant. And if we roll blank, it's Vaunted. Yep. Alright, let's do it. 1d3. This is a fudge die. I don't know if you recognize. We got 2 minus signs, 2 plus signs, and then blank and blank. So, we'll see how it goes. That is a plus. So, Child of the Creed. Grew up studying religion, was raised by either religious parents or religious, maybe a cardinal world, maybe just a particularly religious group on a different type of world. We'll see. Let's see what else we get, but for now we're just gonna go with it. Let's see what we get with Child of the Creed. It was not until comparatively late in your youth that you set foot in a room in which the stern gaze of the God Emperor was absent, and during your impressionable years you were shielded by the enfolding arms of the Ministorum from much of the hardship and uncertainty so many must endure. The unyielding visage of his statues was as much as part of your upbringing as the zealous pure faith of those closest to you. Scripture, ritual lessons, and priestly exhortations filled your memories, rising unbidden in every quiet moment, as though the aged white-haired clerics who taught you still remain by your shoulder in spirit, jealously guarding over your soul. All men hear the God Emperor's holy words if they were born under his rule, but you've heard more than most before even reaching adulthood. Ooh, unshakable faith talent. Alright, so we get +3 willpower or fellowship. Minus 3 weapons. I think that's it. Yes. Yeah, we don't get a lot of... Alright. So. Lure of the Void. Let me check the origin path chart. Popping up. Okay. Okay, so we got a Child of the Creed, which means we have Renegade, Duty Bound, or Zealot. Duty Bound or Zealot. And then we, so if it's a plus, Renegade, they ditched their schooling for some reason. Theological differences, perhaps. A minus sign, it's duty bound. Feels push to help somebody to work. Feels like they're absolutely necessary. It's their duty to do this. Or a zealot, they just want to spread the word of the God Emperor of mankind and preach his love and make sure nothing happens to his people. Okay, so if it lands on a blank side, it's zealot. Lands on a minus side, it's duty bound. Lands on a plus, it's renegade. Let's do it. Let's do this. Here, let me just a little bit, like. Okay. I'm gonna re-roll because renegade. Okay, fair. All right, so now we have to roll what type of renegade. The Imperium survives and prospers in no small part due to the narrowness of its vision and by the strictures imposed by high walls, harsh order, and obedient faith on worlds where no man looks beyond the simple roads taught in childhood. A rebellious mind such as yours could not be so easily constrained, however, but you have had to pay a price for your freedom and have learned that those high walls are there for a reason. Perhaps you are a visionary in search of strange knowledge, seeking answers to questions those around you never thought to ask, answers that proved dark indeed. Or perhaps you denied the sanctity of the God Emperor's church in your heart and fled its shackles of faith, or fought as part of a bloody revolt against tyranny and injustice of your home world. In any case, you saw your only options to be escape or death. Now, the stars beyond await you with the possibility of freedoms and powers unguessed at and perils unknown. Choose one of the following results and apply it to your character. Recidivist, you gain the enemy of the Adeptus Arbites and resistance to interrogation. Concealment is a trained basic skill. You're on the run from the law. Free thinker. +3 intelligence or +3 perception, but -3 willpower, and an enemy of the ecclesiarchy. Ooh. Dark visionary. You suffer your choice of D5+1 corruption points or D5+1 insanity points. In return, you gain the dark soul talent and forbidden lore as trained basic skill. Ooh. That's interesting. Okay. So why is she gone renegade? I'm going to recidivist, freethinker, or dark visionary. Okay. Let's roll this. I am excited for this and a little bit scared. Okay, so we're going to roll right in this spot here. So I know it's going to be here. And if we get a plus, it's a free thinker. We get a minus, it's recidivist. And if we get a blank side, it's a minus. Okay, recidivist. Okay, so we get enemy. Okay, so we have. No, we went this, and then that. Yeah. So we get enemy Adeptus Arbites. Okay, we got resistance to an interrogation. And concealment. To train basic skill. Know how to hide, if necessary. This is good stuff. Okay. So this, we have a renegade. Let me look at the origin path chart. Yeah. Boom. Okay, so trials and travails. Built-in tragic backstory. What bad thing happened to our renegade church raised kid. We got press ganged, calamity, so generally horrible thing, or shiplorn. That's a okay. So calamity, shiplorn, or press ganged. And if so, by who? Well, that's what we'll figure out. We're gonna put calamity as plus, shiplorn as minus, and press ganged as blank side. We're gonna pick this up. We're gonna roll this fudge die, and we're gonna put this chart back and put it right. Plus. Okay. I'm trying to only count rolls that are very clearly on camera, and that is very clearly a plus. So, general calamity, which, okay, calamity. Let's see. When reaching out beyond the relative safety of the Imperium, one of the great, often underestimated dangers is disaster, whether it affects an isolated colony outpost or affects a star vessel suddenly robbed of its supplies by circumstances or sabotage. Famine, plague, and other unlooked-for disasters kill the weak, make death a mercy, and often destroy the thin veneer of civilization worn by many, revealing both the worst and best in humanity. You have seen all of this and more, perhaps were forced into desperate measures in order to survive and remain true to your honor. Regardless, you hold no illusions about what others are capable of and extremists, and have learned the hard way that sometimes a bolt shell is worth a Lord Commander's ransom, and that a starving man cannot eat gold no matter how much he has grasped. Inert to adversity. Light sleeper talent, and your choice of hardy or nerves of steel. I'm going to go with light sleeper and nerves of steel. What else do we have? Echo of hard times. Thanks to the adversaries of the past and a sense of priority that promotes caution in the needs of the present over acquisition and risk, you reduce your group's starting profit factor by -1. Okay. I am going to put this over here. I don't know how it's going to affect the crew of the Express Primus, because I don't know what their profit factor is. I mean, I don't know how we're going to determine that, how well off they are, but it's worth noting. Certainly learn to be prudent. Sorry. Okay. Here we go. So, let me bring up the origin path chart again. Calamity. We got fortune, vengeance, and respect. I believe that's respect. Let me double check. Renown. Renown. So fortune, vengeance, or renown. Alright. So if it's a plus, we're going to roll again. If it's a plus, we got renown. If it's a minus, we have vengeance as our motivator. And if it's a 0, we have renown. Wanted to be known, wanted to be famous, wanted to be that. Okay. So, now that I have my choices, fortune, vengeance, or renown. Let's do this. Let me do that. I write them down before each roll in little notes on the margin. That way I know what corresponds to what roll, and being honest about it, that allows me to say, okay, yes, this is what we rolled, this is what we get for that. Okay. All right. 1d3. Let's do it. We're going to see what we got. That is a minus. Let's see what we... Okay, so minus is vengeance. Okay. Okay. I need to figure out who we're getting vengeance against. Vengeance burns within your heart, flaming afresh in your veins each time you wake from your dreams of knives and murder. You seek revenge against those who have wronged you. That desire gnaws at you, haunts your sleep, and shadows your every action. Almost toil to live, but with each step you take, you ask yourself, is it a step closer to my revenge? The need rides you, and it will do so until the day you stand above the bloody corpses of your last of your enemies. And what then? It matters not, for that day is far yet, and the path long. If retribution consumes you entirely between now and then, making a ghost of the man you once were, then that is a price you're willing to pay. And we get a hatred of Alright, I'm going to leave that blank for now until I flesh out the backstory a little bit. Because... And this will actually probably depend on the world, because if it recidivist probably means there was a rebellion on the world, and that probably led to them fleeing. Okay, and what is the last? The last one is exactly, this is the most important, arguably, thing. Okay, our career path for vengeance, we have Voidmaster, Explorator, or Missionary. Alright. So, Voidmaster, Explorator, or Missionary. Okay. I guess we got Voidmaster, Explorator, Missionary. If it's another Explorator, they end up in the that fleet as part of a... Well, that'll be an interesting question of how they ended up on that fleet and got press ganged into that and stuff. Yes. Okay, so let's do it. This holds the fate of this character in its hand, and then we'll roll on chart 1, and then we will so have plans to use. Let's... What is our mysterious protagonist? Oh, wait. No, I did. I did write it. Voidmaster being plus, minus being Explorator, and okay, Explorator. So which means the Tech Priests of Mars were involved in this rebellion, which is why she ended up they ended up working with them. Okay. So it means we have one more Servo Skull to name, because You get a servo skull familiar. Speaking of that, why don't we roll on the chart one, favorite chart? We need this chart. All right. All right, we're gonna roll these two because they're a set. All right, so we're gonna roll, and 70. No, 7. Is that 7 or no? That's 7. All right, so straight. Oh, we need to roll one. Okay, so they're straight. That's pretty cool. We do AFAB. Okay, so we're gonna do a D12. Yeah, we're gonna do a D12 because I have one here. Evens, odds. Evens. So straight girl. All right, she is a straight woman. Yeah, straight woman. Okay, she's a straight woman. Okay. So that's her vibe. Okay. Characteristics. I'm gonna figure that out. We got weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength. Agility, toughness and agility. Perception, intelligence, perception, willpower, fellowship. Okay. Ina. I like that. So we got one who is, we have one Servo Skull who's Ina, one who's Kato, and one who's Mr. Bones. Because we have 3 Explorators, so we have 3 Servo Skulls, and Ina. I'm gonna go with Y, I think. Because it sounds vaguely sci-fi-y. Yeah, so we got Ina. She has a Servo Skull named Ina, who's her, constant companion. Intelligence, perception, perception, willpower, fellowship. Okay, so she's got. Yeah, that makes sense. So, alright, so we start with weapon skill, which I lose, let's see. So it's 2D, okay, so it's 2D10. Let's take these two. It's 2D10, and let me take away chart 1. Yeah, so 2D10 plus, we are going 2D10 plus, sorry, 25, if I remember correctly. So now I have to write the story of the rebellion and how she ended up working for the Mechanicus, and then she got sent with the other team. They put a bunch of, which makes sense. I Alright, weapon skill is 2d10 plus 25. Let's see. 2d10. So it's 7. I don't know if you can see that, but that's a 1. That's 7 plus 25 is 25 plus 7 is 32. But that's down to 29 because we lost our minus 3 because of the Child of the Creed. Basically, grew up studying God Emperor's prayers and did not learn to fight. So, we got ballistic skill. Ooh, that's really good. 8 and 10. That's 18 plus 25 is 43. That is pretty good. Okay, strength. So, yeah, she can't wield melee, but she's a crack shot, so comes out in the wash, I guess. Strength. Let me... 8 plus... Wow, okay, 8 plus 8 is 15. 17 plus 25 is 42. Yeah, for strength. So she's got muscles, but can't do melee. Probably uncoordinated, or just never learned. So, probably got a naturally big build. That's probably her vibe. So it's 7, 8, 9. Decent dex. Okay, 9 plus 25 is 34. So, decent-ish dexterity. Agility. Oh no, that's toughness. 34 toughness. Okay. So, decently tough, but mostly just strong. Now we check agility. Alright. 9 and a 1 is... That's 35 for agility, so... decent agility. Weirdly strong, decently agile. So she's physically pretty gifted, in terms of how that turned out. She's pretty big. And a good shot. Intelligence is 12. That's 6 plus 6. 12 plus 25 is 37. Intelligence. Perception. Okay, so she's not very perceptive. It's probably why she prefers shots, is she only has to be able to see the target. She doesn't have to, like, think quickly about finding the right opening when there's not enough time to actually, like, look. It takes her a while to notice things. That's why she prefers to shoot, rather than practice with a sword where you have to, like, be able to track your opponent's move as they go. She'd rather, and then reply with your own. That cognitive piece was always difficult for to keep track of, which is why she preferred still targets. 3. Or just where they are and not what they're doing. 3, 28, yeah. Okay, so we got willpower and fellowship. Now, I got a +3 to willpower, no matter what. And fellowship, I either get another +3. So I'm going to say if I roll more than a 10, I'm going to just take the +3 and then add the other +3 to fellowship. If I get less, we're going to give her the extra +3 again on willpower, because that's... Oh, no, that's 9 is... Yeah, 9 plus 4 is 13. Hang on. That's 25 plus 13 is 38. That's 41 with the plus... Yeah, we can just keep the 41, and then the other +3 is to fellowship. Let's see. We get 7, 8, 9. That's 34, 37. Yeah. And then toughness bonus is 3. So 10 wounds, essentially, which is respectable. Okay, alright, it is 2 o'clock in the morning, so I've been streaming for an hour and a half. Well, 2 o'clock on my end. Alright, so we're gonna go... Mechanicus was involved in Civil War. I don't know what side they were on. That might be worth noting. So she's got, ended up working for the Mechanicus fleet, and put, it means that she has the usual implants and stuff. Yeah. Okay, I think that, I appreciate all of you coming to watch. I feel really tired. I think I'm gonna end the stream now. I really appreciate you all coming. You are awesome, bees, just in general. The rest of you as well. I know I need sleep. Alright. So, good night. Tomorrow, I'm gonna have like 11 o'clock. Hang on, let me check what time I said I was gonna stream. Cause I set up, oh, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So, I don't know what time that is. West Coast is 11:30. 8:30 West. So it's first thing in the morning for you. But we are streaming Thirsty Sword Lesbians. So, pretty cool. Because Thirsty Sword Lesbians are awesome. Hang on. 11th, wait, no. Hang on, it's not going to be 11th, it's going to be 12:30 or later. So 9:30 on your end, which I have to remember that. Yeah, it's going to be like 12:30. 12:30. I'll so like 9 or 9:30 for you, cuz I have to, yeah, so it's going to be 9:30 Western time, because I forgot I had the thing on Friday when I was... Oh, okay. Well, laundry is important. Don't forget to do the laundry. But if you're free around 9:30, or later, I would very much like to see you. We're doing Thirsty Sword Lesbians. And I will put it up, you know, I put all the streams up on YouTube as well, so... The bashed skull and the... Oh, good, they crossed the border. Okay, so I will see you when I see you. Thanks for coming to the stream. Good night, everyone. I'll see you next time.